for this stream, I wanted to watch a documentary, but then I had to have Paramount Plus to watch it. So I'm not going to do that. I'll show you what I watched and what made me want to watch that documentary. It was another documentary called The Occupation of the American Mind, Free Films for Context on Israel's War on Gaza. It's an incredible documentary on, more specifically, on the propaganda in America concerning, well, Israel and Palestine and the occupation of Palestine. It's actually really, really good, and I could recommend it. And in it, they talk about this 60-minute reporting by a CBS journalist who was, by the way, Jewish. They were making a documentary on the Christian Palestinians in Gaza. But yeah, that documentary was talking about Christian Palestinians, and I guess Israel was threatened by that, because if we talk about Muslim Palestinians, well, the American public is not necessarily going to care that much, right? They're Muslims. But Christian Palestinians, that's dangerous. And basically, there was an interview with the ambassador, Israel's ambassador, and they were trying to take the documentary down before the documentary was even made. And the reporter was like, I've made a lot of documentaries in my life. Well, maybe we can find a segment, actually. CBS Christian Palestinians. Let's see if this tells us anything.
Does the Israeli government consider the Palestinian Christian community important?
We consider our Christian citizens extremely important. They are integral to the fabric of our society. They're in our Supreme Court, in our Knesset. They're serving in our army by the thousands, volunteering. They're a cherished part of our society. Do we care about Christians living in the West Bank or living elsewhere in the Middle East? Of course we do, because we're part of the region. And we care the fact that 80% of the Christian population of Iraq has fled, that there have been 70 churches burnt there. We care that 200,000 Coptic Christians fled their houses in Egypt last year. We care about that. But are we responsible for what's happening for them? No, we're responsible for our own citizens, as the United States is responsible for its citizens.
Okay, this is definitely not the juicy part. Yeah, it was made in 2016. It's about the propaganda Israeli has, especially in America. And here's a segment of a CBS 1-hour documentary. I wanted to watch the whole thing. I couldn't because it's on Paramount Plus, but we can watch the segment that is in the documentary that you should go watch yourself, The Occupation of the American Mind. It's available free on YouTube, as you can see. All right, let's watch this.
More recently, in 2012, during a 60 Minutes piece, the late Bob Simon dared to report on what day-to-day life is like for Palestinian Christians who live under Israeli occupation.
Israel has occupied the West Bank for 45 years, turning the little town where Christ was born into what its residents call an open-air prison. Christy Anastas lives with her mother Claire, her father, brother, and sister in this house, which is surrounded on 3 sides by the wall.
How do you live with this?
Simon's report was seen as so unusual and so incendiary that Israeli Ambassador Michael Oren actually tried to spike it, censor it, leading Simon to directly confront him on camera.
When I heard that you were going to do a story about Christians in the Holy Land, and my assumption, and had, I believe, information about the nature of it, and it's
my assumption. Oh, I wasn't assuming that you'd be making a bad report about it. He's about to say, me wanting to censor it is just based on assumption, because they're extremely defensive. But no, it's not assumption actually. Look.
in the Holy Land, and my assumption, and
no assumption,
had, I believe, information about the nature of it, and
okay, they had information. It wasn't an assumption. They had information about the nature of that documentary.
it's been confirmed by this interview today.
It's been confirmed by the interview, Mr. Ambassador, because you don't know what's going to be put on air.
Okay, I don't. True.
Mr. Ambassador, I've
True. You're right. But I don't believe you.
been doing this a long time, and I've received lots of reactions from just about everyone I've done stories about, but I've never gotten a reaction before from a story that hasn't been broadcast yet.
Well, it's the first time for everything, Bob.
These are examples of exceptional reporting, but they are the exception. And there's a reason for that. In each of these cases, these journalists were mercilessly attacked and labeled anti-Semitic. It didn't matter that they were both Jewish. That's how the climate of intimidation works.
It's a really good documentary if you want to go check it out. Doesn't matter if they're Jewish. Imagine if they weren't Jewish. God damn it. Yeah, he literally went, well, there's a first thing to everything, Bob. Or something like that. Poor guy. He's so fucking defensive. He knows what he's doing is wrong, and he's up there trying to defend it, but it's not even being criticized yet. He's like, I know you're going to criticize it because this shit is wrong. And the guy's like, I'm not even criticizing it yet. You don't even know what I'm going to do about it. He's like, I know you're going to criticize it because there's no way in hell you're not going to criticize this because this shit is inhuman.